What is going on, everybody? So today we are going to be talking about 3 games that defined me as a gamer growing up. We all had those pinnacle moments as we were playing games and that little spark goes off and it just sucks you right in, and then you feel like you just can't get enough and you just got to keep going and pushing and try to either make yourself a better gamer or just broaden your horizons a bit and see what other games there are out there in the world. So the first game on the list that we are going to be talking about is none other than Ninja Gaiden. This game just had me floored as a kid. As you know, a kid growing up in the 90s, ninjas were all the rave because you had, surf ninjas, you had 3 ninjas, you had Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I mean, it was just ninjas. So playing a game like this, I was already just wanting to play because I was just loving the whole ninja theme and stuff. But I loved platformers up to this point as I played Super Mario Brothers and other platformers such as that. But when I seen the gameplay of Ninja Gaiden, and at that point in time, it felt more not only fast-paced, but more action-oriented, so I felt like there was more than just, jumping on somebody's head. It was actually trying to strategize using Ryu's sword and also using the items. Now, keep in mind, as a kid that did not own an NES growing up, I had no idea even how to use the items, I think, until I was probably close to being a teenager, and I ended up figuring it out incidentally. So the whole game I felt was like against me when I was a kid because I just kept using the sword and going, why do I keep picking up these items? I can't even use them. Because little did I know I had to hit up and then, the attack button, because I was trying to just hit just a single button. I thought maybe I had to hit select. I ended up figuring it out one day and went, oh, that's how you do it. And then of course after that, the game started coming to me a lot easier, and it did take me quite a while to beat this game. I still, to this day, I can get all the way to level 6, but I still have a hard time navigating through it because if I haven't played it in a long time, there's a lot of timing mechanics in there that you can get pinballed around if you did not know this about the game. But if you don't recall how certain stuff spawns in, you're gonna find yourself getting irritated. But that game just, oh my god, I can't even stress enough as to how that pushed me as a gamer. That was the first game that it forced me to really push myself to get better, because I remember a lot of kids on my block that played this game, they would all give up after the first level because they're like, it's too impossible to beat the second level because of how, it was drawn up, and people would get irritated and quick. Similar to Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the dreaded dam level, everybody talks about that. It was similar to that. And I was always in that competitive nature. I always wanted to push myself to get better. So I kind of, prided myself as a kid to be like, I'm not going to settle. I'm going to push myself and I will get better and I will beat this dang level. And then eventually I did. And then of course I crapped my pants, similar to, again, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles when I beat the dam level. And I went, okay, now what? So yeah, it definitely pushed me. And by getting better at that game, I was actually able to get better at other games. So the next game on my list is going to be Final Fantasy. And the reason why this one is on my list is because this was the game that first introduced me into the world of video game RPGs. And to be honest, up to this point, I didn't even know that board game RPGs even existed, because when I first played this, I believe I was like 6 or 7. Yeah, keep that in mind. I was 6 or 7, so my vocabulary and reading skills really weren't the greatest. So trying to play a game like that, I was kind of like, what's going on here? I really didn't get into RPGs until I was probably closer to 9 or 10 when my reading skills improved, and then I went back and played it because when I was that young, I was getting frustrated as to why I couldn't figure out how to traverse through everything and excel my characters into the next level and stuff like that. I had no idea. Everything was just by sheer luck. I was totally just enamored with how the mechanics were. I liked the idea of having these characters and you could buy weapons and armor and just different items and equip them, and they also had different abilities, and then some of them, being the mages, had different spells and stuff like that. I was just so sold on that whole concept. I'm a huge geek when it comes to like anything medieval like, or stuff like that in the fantasy realm. I absolutely love it. So playing a game like that, it just It just blew my mind. And then from that point on, I was just constantly trying to figure out not only how to beat that game when I finally did, but also when I started going in and looking at the vast library of RPGs that were out up to that time and going through and playing stuff on the SNES. And then of course getting into the awesome PlayStation 1 era of RPGs, my God. But Final Fantasy just, oh my God, it was such a great game for its time. And again, think about it like this. I kind of touched on this in a previous video going over why it was in my top games for the time when it came out, but this was one of the first games where you actually played the RPG that it wasn't just solely text format, that you really got a real-time adventure and you got to move the characters around, then going into fights and stuff, and it wasn't just text-based, and you actually had animations that went along with the adventure. Final Fantasy is still a great game that I could still play to this day, and the irony is I do need to actually play it for some retro achievements, so it gives me an opportunity to go back and enjoy the game that got me into the genre of RPGs. And of course, last but not least, we have my personal favorite game of all time, and that is Streets of Rage 2. Now, again, gonna show my age a little bit here, but I was born in '86, so I grew up at the tail end of the arcade era, but I was totally immersed into it. I loved the atmosphere that arcades brought. I loved seeing the walls of cabinets and then just seeing all the lights, the whole atmosphere of an arcade. Just, I absolutely love it. And even to today, when I just go somewhere that has an arcade, it just takes me back to that place in time as a child when I just remember walking around, all the smells of the junky food like the nachos and, you know, crappy pizzas and stuff like that. I loved it. Anyhow, Streets of Rage 2 was the game that my mind, like, I can't even say this enough on how blown my mind was on this game, seeing this as it was being released. And then immediately when I seen the title scene, that was the first time, like, as much as I really wanted to just get in there and play the game, I let it play out, like the actual intro where it shows the picture of the trio around Mr. X, and it says, you know, the 1 year after the battle, and then it goes into the sequence where you're seeing the city, and then you slowly see the hands come in, and it's Mr. X, you know, and it gives you the dialogue as to what's happening as far as why you're on this battle and adventure to go, and you're going to save Adam. So seeing this and then hearing the music, that's what kind of pulled me in as well. When it comes in, stage 1 start, and you just hear that intro music, that oh my gosh, I was just like, what the hell is going on? And then I see the visuals. You're seeing the backgrounds of the neon lights, and then you're seeing the color palette that they used and the textures that they used for the brick that you're walking on, just the way that it was, the colors were shaded, and then the layers. I was like, what the hell is going on? And then the sounds when you start punching people. Oh my God, like, it's so good. It really is. And it gave you that real arcade experience in your home. And that was the first game that really made me feel that way, outside of playing something that was having a light gun of some sort. But that one, holy crap, that thing just had my mind blown. The bad reality, I guess you could say, was what I did not know is, to me, this is probably the best beat 'em up that was ever created, especially for the 16-bit era. So it was kind of like I was like at the peak already and I didn't even know. So everything else I was just kind of like, yeah, this isn't bad, but it's not Streets of Rage 2. But this one was another one similar to Ninja Gaiden that it forced me to push my skills as a gamer, because even playing this on normal, I would say it poses a challenge, especially to somebody who is newer to beat 'em up style games. But when you actually try to beat this thing on hardest, especially if you have no idea what's going on, you're going to be like, there's no way. There's no way people can beat this on hardest. It pushes you as a gamer to get better and get over that hump to push you into the next level as far as your skill level as a gamer. So with that being said, please let me know what you guys thought about this in the comments below, and I will see you guys in the next video.
Super Retro Force.